China's population has declined for the first time in more than 60 years. According to numbers released Tuesday by China's National Bureau of Statistics, the population in 2022 was just over 1.4 billion, a drop of 850,000 from a year prior. The last time the country's population fell was in 1961 after 3 years of famine in the Mao era. Experts warn China is facing a shrinking workforce that will struggle to support a rapidly aging population. Bradley Schurman joins me for more. He is the author of The Super Age, Decoding Our Demographic Destiny. So, Bradley, as a starter, why is China's population declining?
Well, it started with the one-child policy that was implemented in 1979. And typically, as economies become wealthy, they start to lower their birth rates. This has happened across Europe. It's happened here in the United States as well. When that happens, population birth rates shrink, older populations grow, and it eventually leads to a point of decline, which is happening in a number of countries around the world. And believe it or not, it's happening here in the United States too, in about half of the states and 3/4 of the counties.
And Beijing has, as I understand it, 33 million more men than women in the country right now. Is that a vestige of the one-child policy, A? And then B, what does that mean for the country?
Well, it's a complete imbalance. Most societies have roughly parity between the genders, with a few more women typically than men. Regardless, when there are extra men around, it can create additional problems for society. In particular, male-dominated societies tend to be a bit more aggressive than those that have a higher percentage of female ones. And this could spell some degree of gloom and doom for the United States and the West, especially as China looks to shore up its position, at least in terms of power, in light of demographic change and this contraction of its population.
So just to follow that thinking along, so the idea basically is you have more men in a society, they're clamoring for aggressive responses or aggressive moves in any direction that just makes China more unpredictable and potentially more pugilistic on the world stage.
Agreed. And that's one of the big fears that I think we're experiencing right now across the West. In fact, in most aging countries, what we typically find is they become less religious, they become less aggressive. It's one of the hallmarks of demographic change. The one exception to this so far, though, is Russia. Russia's actually become more aggressive in light of demographic change. So if we follow the same pattern where authoritarian leaders and authoritarian governments are left to their own devices, there could be a period in particular that's going to happen over the next coming decades where China may lash out at its neighbors, may feel like it has to go after Taiwan, for example, in order to maintain its pole position in the world. But make no mistake, this demographic change is here to stay. China has not been able to reverse its birth rate policy, despite saying you can have 2 kids, you can have 3 kids. The country's not turning that around anytime soon. So best case predictions for China right now is they'll lose the equivalent of about 2 U.S. populations by the end of this century. We're talking about a seismic shift in the demographics of that country. And make no mistake, if that happens, that's going to affect all of us. We're all going to feel that change here in the U.S.
And how does it affect China in particular, the economic stability there?
Well, of course, the first thing is that labor costs are going to go through the roof. So all of these cheap goods that we've become accustomed to now for over 4 decades are going to become really expensive. And we're going to have to look for new places to source them. On the positive side, some of that production might come back here to the United States. We also might look for growing markets, in particular Africa. But for China, this really slows their economic growth unless they can figure out a way to include their older population in a more productive way past that traditional working age population, which is ages 16 to 64. So the other big issue that we're facing right now is that they have excess real estate. You think about the subprime mortgage crisis that we had in this country just a decade or so ago, they're going to have an even bigger issue because right now they have about 60 million extra units that just aren't being filled. And there's no one coming up through the pipeline of population to fill them. There are no new buyers.
We saw, Bradley, the zero COVID policy as a response to COVID-19. And in other words, Chinese policy tends to have a heavy hand on big problems it faces. So using that overgeneralization, this seems like a big problem, which you say isn't turning around. Are there drastic measures either being contemplated or put in policy, like the one-child policy, to reverse this or at least try to ameliorate these imbalances?
Well, we haven't seen those really kind of dystopian policies develop quite yet. Could there be forced births? Perhaps there were forced contractions on or protections on pregnancies in China. Could we see something like that happen in the future? It's possible. It seems really dystopian, really out of line with human history. And we also have to deal with the reality here that even if they did do something so incredibly draconian, so incredibly science fiction, that it's going to take at least a generation for those children that are born today to mature into adulthood. So China, in this period of rapid demographic decline, is losing 1 million plus people in the coming years. It's going to be hard to turn that around.
That's fascinating. Bradley Schurman, thank you so much for helping us understand that.
Thanks for bringing me on.